And happy Friday, everybody.
Happy
And
Friday.
and welcome to the back catalog listening party. My name is Mother Banjo, one of your hosts. Our other host is off being a bluegrass star in North Dakota, playing a festival, Anthony Ihrig. He's sad he couldn't join us today because today we have joining us from his home in South Minneapolis, Brian Just.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Mm,
we're
thank
so
you.
excited to have you here. I'm actually in Iowa. So normally though, we live pretty close to each other. So I
Mhm.
see you around town. I was joking earlier this week that I was like, I see Brian just everywhere, but I never get to talk about music with him because it's always random places about town. Like last time I was at the playground where our kids were playing.
Yeah. And they're like, Mom, Dad.
Look
Yeah.
at this. Look at this.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so excited to have you here to talk about music. And looks like Alan was first. He was early to the party. He must be ready for his Friday happy hour. Hi, Alan. And let us know where you are tuned in from today. And if you're enjoying a happy hour beverage, looks like Wiley is joining us from Northern Virginia, drinking a margarita and ready for the show. All right. Well, it is summertime. And here in Southern Iowa. No, it is in the 80s. It's beautiful out, so I thought it's, white wine time. So, enjoying a nice Sauvignon Blanc on this, Friday afternoon. And Brian, are you enjoying some kinda happy hour beverage?
Yeah. Since you were having a beverage like that, I thought I'd grab a beer, but I have a falling knife. Look at this can. It's so cool.
Ooh,
It's like a mosaic of
of
cats and
cats.
things.
I love it. That is so
So
cool.
yeah, it's the Lucky Cat Army.
Does it taste as
So
good as it looks?
it does. It's actually I just took a sip and I go,
It makes
oh.
you wanna purr. You're like, "Hmm,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's very good. So, yeah, I think it's
yeah."
like mosaic hops or something. I don't know what it is, but I it's like rice, Japanese style rice lager, so,
Oh,
really
wow.
good,
Very
really
cool.
good.
And then we have someone named Alan just joining us. Is this a relation by any chance?
I have no idea who that could be. No, there's that's my brother.
Ah.
Glad to be here for my first back catalog list. Thanks for being
Well
here,
well,
Alan.
we're happy to have you, Alan, and, Connie joining us from Richfield, one of our regulars, and, if you are also new to the back catalog listening party, this is the show where we torture musicians by making them revisit one of their old records, and, Brian was kind enough to join us, and I know you have watched the show, so you kinda know what you're in for, so
Mhm.
we're gonna be revisiting a record of your choosing, and, a big part of this show is, folks, asking questions and commenting, so if you're out there, again, we consider this our weekly happy hour. So, depending on the time zone and what you're doing with your Friday, maybe you're traveling or whatever. So, tell us if you're enjoying a beverage or snack, or if you're just kicking back and where you are tuned in from. Looks like Chris is kicking it in Savage, Minnesota, with a Utapils brewing beverage. Awesome.
Mm,
It doesn't matter which Utapils it is; it's going to be good, I'm sure. So.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so I'm excited to have you here because I've known you and your music for quite a while. I feel like the first time we met was
Yeah.
at an Art-A-Whirl,
Oh, yeah.
which is a big art and music festival in Northeast Minneapolis that happens every May. And this was many years ago. And I was playing not like an official venue. I was like playing like at someone's like garage. And
Uh,
it was like a fundraiser for something. And you and some pals just were like wandering around the neighborhood and you heard me play and you stopped by and you were super nice. And then it wasn't until later that I realized, like later I heard your music and I was like, oh, I think that's the guy I met at Art Whirl. And then we just kept running into each other again, whether it's playgrounds or actual music shows. And
yeah.
it's but I've been a big fan of your songwriting for a long time. So I'm so excited you're on the show today. But for folks who maybe haven't met you at an Art Whirl, maybe you could give
Yeah.
a brief 2-minute origin story about where you grew up, how you fell into making music, and where this album fits into that.
Yeah, I'm just laughing because I do remember meeting you there, and I would call it we stumbled in more than anything into that garage and uninvited, and we're like just sat down like we were supposed to be there. But anyways,
But you were very polite. I mean, you were
good, yeah,
so sweet. You were like,
yeah,
yeah. I was wondering. I was like, do they know what's going on? I don't know, but you were so
yeah.
kind. So
That was a
it,
fun time. I remember that day too really well. That was like, anyways, so yeah, that was probably 2012 or something or
yeah,
11. I don't
probably,
know.
yeah, a while ago.
So, so a little bit about me. I'm from Mankato, Minnesota. I grew up in Mankato, and I was kind of from the get-go obsessed about music. I've I've my earliest memories of music are taking guitar lessons when I was in like kindergarten because I was so obsessed about learning how to play, and I wanted to sound like the Monkees. I guess was kind of it. I was like an '80s Monkees kid, so like I thought they were. They're on Nickelodeon when I was a kid, so I thought they were a current thing. At that time we didn't. I guess my parents may have said, this is from our childhood, but they never did. So I just assumed they were a real band. And then in '87, I went to see them play at the state fair. So that's another big memory, like probably one of my first concerts. And
Mhm.
Weird Al Yankovic opens, oddly enough. But that was like a really solid memory of just like listening to records. And I would say my dad had like a kind of a eclectic collection of stuff. Um, like Jethro Tull, which kind of influences a lot of the flute things I think in my musical career. But then there's a lot of like heavy stuff, Black Sabbath, and a very good heavy dose of Beatles as well.
Mhm.
So, but I started bands when I was in like the 5th and 6th grade. I had like started writing my own stuff and learning poorly. I'm sure playing poorly at this time, but at 6th grade level, versions of Nirvana songs, and you know, we couldn't even I teach guitar lessons now, and I tell my students, I'm like, we couldn't search lyrics then and like look up chords. We just had to like make them up and figure them out ourselves, and in that young of age. But yeah, so I had like a band in middle school, and then in high school we got into kind of a little more heavier stuff, and so I've just been playing and writing songs kind of as long as I can remember.
Mhm.
Um, and So then I moved up to the Minneapolis in 2001, went to college here, and haven't left. Just
Yeah.
stuck with it. And a lot of open mics. Derek Derek Johnson, who was on last week, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was he was we were just talking about him. He was one of the first open mics I went to in the city was the Terminal Bar in like 2003 or 4, and so that's where I met a lot of people, and then we started some other bands, and but I've always kind of consistently since 2005 been releasing my own music, just under the name Brian Just, or I've added the band Brian Just band to it just to make things more confusing for no reason at all. But yeah, so I've been kind of releasing records since 2005, and yeah, that's and what year is it now? 2024?
Yeah, yeah, I know. I well,
Mhm.
you are a dad, so, like and happy Father's Day early, by the
Oh,
way.
thank you.
So I know that, like, the schedule kinda changes when you have kids in terms of, like, maybe it used to be you're like, "Oh, maybe I'll put an album every couple years," and then those couple years become 5, 7, 8 years, or
Yeah.
however old your kids are right now, probably.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
uh so the album we're going to talk about today is Changing Traffic Lights. It came out in 2017, although the album version says 2016. So
Right.
tell us about like when you recorded this and sort of why there's the different years.
Yeah, good question. I was trying to put the pieces together on that as well. So my oldest son was born in 2015, and I do recall at the time being my wife and I, who's in the band, Josie Just, she and I kind of thinking like we need to wrap this thing up before this kid comes, and it's going to be harder. So we were smart. We like knew that it was going to be tough, and it didn't happen though. We didn't finish it in time, and we just I think in 2015 I sent it to the printers to be made. So I think we were done with it by the end of 2015. And then I said, well, surely it will be out in 2016 and everything will just be running smooth. And so then we started releasing music videos as kind of like singles, and then it just like the data of trying to get like we ended up releasing it at the Turf Club was kind of my goal, and the date just got pushed, I think, because of one conflict with a band member, and then it was like, I think it's into 2017, and I think that'll give us enough time to really promote this thing. And so we just were working it and playing shows in 2016, and releasing videos and trying to get songs on the radio and just trying to do anything we could. And then we finally did put the album out with a short release on vinyl. Um, we had cassettes that we were made like by hand, and then
Wow.
I
So
didn't
you
build
have
the
so you have
cassettes,
this yeah, but you have it in all the formats then. You have it in it's obviously on the digital places, but also you
yeah.
have it on CD, vinyl, and cassette?
Correct, yeah. I think the cassettes
Wow.
are gone now. I think the last one was, just this last summer or something like that, but the CDs I was telling you earlier was kind of a fun story. Alison Laban, the Owls project, I think not the Owls project, but, Starfolk, I think.
Mhm,
One of their projects, they she was telling me about how they recycled their their home some of their home CD cases.
mhm.
So they just kinda, like, put all their CDs into a well, this is what I did anyways, I don't know what they did, but I put all them took all of the CDs, took all the artwork, and just put it in a shoebox, basically, and put all my CDs into, like, one of those big vinyl cases like we used to have in our cars, remember? And
Yeah.
people would try to steal them all the time. But, so so I took out all my so I had all these just old cases, and some of them had stickers on them, like, the Kinks 20 best hits, or like, Ernie November, some record stores from my childhood. So they'd
Mhm,
have all these stickers on them, and I would just keep them on there. So each CD had like, some of them would have a white background, or some would have a clear back case, and some
mhm.
wouldn't. And so it's just kind of like it's just a variety of it was just like a variety of of CD cases. But we did 200 vinyl, and there's only about 20 or so left at a few stores in town.
Wow.
And and uh and the CDs, though, I have a stack of those that I made with my home collection. So
That's so awesome. Well,
yeah.
we want to give some folks some music so they can see that
Okay.
they'll wanna pick up one of those, special CDs or LPs, while you still have them. So the album again is called Changing Traffic Lights. It came out in 2017, and, the first track that you picked to feature on today's show is called She. Is there anything you wanna say about this song before we take a listen?
Oh boy. Well, speaking of the monkeys, but it's like it's just a simple song. I think it started as a simple song, kind of like a pop song, like just about like a cool girl around town, just having her feelings, thoughts. Like it's just kind of like a just some imagination thing run wild with one particular the first line of the song, I think, is what triggered the song.
Okay.
Just someone I saw biking away from a concert, and literally uh that's what inspired it. I just was like, "Oh, I'll write that down," and that's what's inspired the song.
Excellent. Well, we're gonna take a listen to it now. This is Brian Just She here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
She beside her as the light it guides her to a perfect sunrise. Oh, there's nothing she can't do except follow every clue and open every door. Yeah, open every door. Yeah, open every door. Yeah, open every door.
All right. That was Brian Just with She from his 2017 album, Changing Traffic Lights. And folks are really digging it. And Chris says, wow, a lot going on in the song. And
Yeah.
Wiley says, love that bass line when it comes in. And Joni was observing the Monkees connection you were talking about, the Monkees inspiration, and a little Partridge Family too. And then Chris, here's the Beach Boys as well. So, yeah, a lot of 60s influences happening
Yeah,
in that tune.
a lot of big double harmonies. It's funny, this is the same spot I recorded that stuff in all
Oh,
those years
really?
ago, and the same microphone too. But it's funny to think about that. It's like yeah, for every harmony, it's kind of like doubled on top of being already having like six back, there's probably like eight people singing, and it's all just me and my wife Josie singing, but we're
Yeah,
just
so did you double some of the same lines too? Like
hmm
where you're singing like the same part twice so that you get it sounds like a big chorus of people?
Yeah, yeah, it's
Mhm.
that like so like open every door. Yeah, and then like the harmony of that doubled. So sometimes we do up to three per line, and it would just kind of sound like this wall of stuff, kind of Beatles-esque or something like that. Like because or something. There's
Yeah.
so many bands that would do that, but I always like that, like when you just because if you can get your voice just to lock in right on the same level, it really does make it sound powerful.
Yeah,
Um,
and it is amazing that that's just you and your wife doing that, like, recording that at your house, because it sounds like, yeah, some big production studio with,
yeah.
like you have, like, sea of people and, like, all these high-end mics, and
I was
it's so
looking at
cool.
the record here because there's a lot of information on the back of it if you get this. But
Mhm.
yeah, I was trying to remember like what we recorded where, and it was always at houses for the most part. These are all home recordings, but done masterfully by Tyler Thole, who is he plays guitar in my band now, and but he's just an incredible recording artist and musician himself. But we did record so that there's like strings, and someone said there's a lot going on in this. It's true. There's like a lot of strings, and I mean, there's a bassoon, clarinet, trombone, flute, French horn, upright bass, violin, viola, cello on top of and on top of
Like
all the guitars and bass and
and all
drums.
those vocal tracks you were talking
Yeah,
about,
so it's pretty
so
epic.
well, I'd be curious, I mean, I don't know how involved you were with the mixing, but, did you ever see all the tracks together? Like, how many tracks do you think that would be when you put all those instruments and all those vocal lines? Like, I'm trying to picture if you could even see you wouldn't be able to see them all on the screen at the same time.
Yeah, it's in like the 40s or something, probably 40
Wow.
tracks. Yeah,
So, yeah, I would think mixing this would be hard because you want each thing to have its moment and, all that stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, is that something you enjoy doing, or do you like to pass that off to someone else to do a lot of the grunt work? Because I would imagine that's just a big job.
Yeah, I love, collaborating with people on that, and, I do it myself as well, but I find that, once I get done with the writing and basic recording stuff of and layering and getting really I do a lot of mixing myself, but then, but on this particular album, Tyler did, uh, uh, all of the heavy lifting on that, and so that was really appreciative that he took on that role with that because he's just genius level at it, and, but I do like it. I do like mixing. I'm currently working on a new record, and yeah, we have up to 30 tracks and some of this stuff. So it's like it is a lot, but sometimes if it can slow things down, but you kind of combine or you combine it all into one track and just kind of look at it. It's simpler to look at. And but yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. It's a lot to take in sometimes, but but it's
No,
fun.
yeah, that's amazing. And again, we put it in a link in the comments. I'm going to put it on the screen again. If you want to hear, I mean, I know we've just heard one of many wonderful tracks we're going to hear today, but um, I feel like that song alone kind of sells this record for folks. So, like, if you want to hear like the more intricacies of all those different instruments and vocal lines, the way to do it is as much as we love listening with everyone here live on YouTube, things get lost when you're listening on your phone. And when it goes through there's a lot less ones and zeros, as my co host Tony likes to say. So if you like what you're hearing and you want to hear even more of it, then go to brianjust.com. You can get either the high res digital files, or you can get it on, let's see, we said CD, vinyl, maybe not cassette anymore. So if you find a cassette and want one, you should snag it. But as he mentioned, the CDs are with upcycled.
Yeah, I like that.
You can see some of his past recordings and record stores he was at.
Yeah, that's true.
Brian Just, so you can get that too. But
If you're in Minneapolis, I think I have a few copies at Roadrunner Records that's where I feed them. Oh, and Groovy's Records in my
oh yeah,
neighborhood. So
yeah.
those are my two places I hit up a lot. So that's if you're in Minneapolis, anyways.
Yeah, or you can go to brianjust.com and order them there and clear out his own storage space because Brian mentioned he's working on new records. So he has to make space for the new product.
So true.
So definitely help him with his spring, summer cleaning. And again, if you have questions for Brian, throw them in the comments. Folks are loving the music. And, it's funny you mentioned the monkeys because I know we were talking earlier about how we just run into each other at random places. And now I'm remembering that I saw you at that monkeys show.
Oh yeah,
at the casino.
right.
Was that at Treasure Island or Mystic Lake? I can't even remember.
Well, Mystic Lake, was it the one with Mike
was
Nesmith's last show?
Yeah, and it was right after what's his name died.
Yeah.
It was right after.
Oh, right after Peter died.
Yeah, it was
That's
after
right.
that.
Okay, yeah, because I think there was another one since then at the State Theater
Yeah,
so
no.
this was a couple times ago. So yeah, that was a good one though. That was so fun.
I think I was
Oh, man.
pregnant at the time. That's why I remember it. But
there's a lot of
yeah.
tears in that audience for that one. They had
Oh,
like
yeah.
the montage. Oh my God.
Oh, so beautiful. Well, one of the other things I was noticing, you mentioned the flute and all those different woodwinds. And you mentioned you play and teach guitar. Is that kind of the main thing you do in vocals? I mean, that's plenty, especially when you're doing like 10 vocal lines. But who did you enlist to play on the recording?
Oh yeah, so that's I mean, this could maybe lead into Changing Traffic Lights, the song. I don't know if you want to switch it, but
we can do that.
But this needs to be mentioned for that last one too, probably. But so yeah, I write the chords on the guitar, piano, and then I write the vocals, I guess. But then beyond that, I'll sometimes have some bass ideas or drum ideas, but it's usually I roll that and then someone comes up with something better. I have a great band that I collaborate with and I'm very lucky. So, so this whole album came together at a time when I was working on local musician, Ben Kelly. He's a bass player around town. He tours and he's a great guy, great bass player too. But he enlisted me for this odd, I don't know what to call it, variety show that he was putting together at the old Arizona Theater. And it was like called Bear in the Barrel. And it was this like, he was just massively creative, just coming up with he had a playwright, he had dancing, there was orchestra, and put together by a guy named Adam Conrad. And so it was this just massive, complete, when I think about it, it's like ridiculous that this exists, because that's like when I think all the pieces that there's a video, there was film, there was like short films, and he did like a few of them, and I got involved in like the third one, and it was a Christmas show, like in the middle of December. And anyway, so my job was to come on and be an actor for a couple of the scenes, do some terrible acting, and then I got to do, and then I also was part of the collaboration with the orchestra. So he's like, do you want to do this orchestra collaboration? I'm like, yeah, that sounds amazing. And so he introduced me to Adam Conrad, who is just this incredible composer in town who was doing a lot of things with Improvistra was his thing, improv orchestras. which is so he would like direct full groups of people into improvisation and orchestra
Wow.
playing. Yeah, so I was going to, and so I started to hang out with him, and I was going to these orchestra things, and but then so he and I were put together to collaborate for this play of sorts, this variety show. And I said, let's do something, because we were going to do like old songs of mine, but I was like, I got a couple new ones that I think would be cool. And I said, this is an old song called Changing Traffic Lights that my dad wrote in 1973, 4, 5. I always forget which year. But my dad wrote it in 1970s. And my dad's a piano player, but he's never not a performer, just plays in the house. It's played around, but he had a song that he had written, and one song that he'd written, and he called it Changing Traffic Lights. And so he would play it all the time, and there's no words to it. There was just a title and these 3 chords basically, and there's a little bit of a melody line. And so in high school, in 90s era, I had a 4-track. And I recorded him playing it once. So I have a nice recording of him playing it on a tape, which is kind of fun. And then in 2008, so this is decades spanning song at this point. 2008 for Father's Day, let's say it's for Father's Day, since it's, I don't remember why it could have been something else, but let's say it was Father's Day. And so I was like, I'm going to like write lyrics to it. There's a title, and it's clearly about changing. It's sad, probably. It had a lot of minor things. So it's like changing time, and I think he said it was a breakup song. I'm sure it was, in fact, but there's no lyrics, so there's no really telling. So I wrote lyrics to it, and I wrote just 3 sets of lyrics, and then kind of like an at the end. And I showed that to Adam, and he's like, "Oh my God, we have to do this." And so I think that 70s era stuff that he and I both absolutely adore, orchestrations and stuff, he was just like, let's go for it. Let's go big. So that was something we collaborated on for that show, which we did like 5 songs. But that was the one that really was like, we got to record this now with the full orchestra. And then I'm like, I think this is the title of this record even. So
this is the orchestra that's playing on this track that we're going to listen to right now.
Yes. And I mentioned this. I want to mention this because that's the same orchestra that played in the song She.
Oh, wow. So
yeah,
it started off as an improvised thing, but then you kind of codified it at some point,
he
right?
wrote, so he wrote these, he wrote all these parts, and they're improvised, as in that was just a separate project I wanted to mention called Improvistra. But for this thing, he literally wrote out all these sections and stuff.
I don't know how you would improvise that.
No. I mean, it is amazing to see composers work like that, because they really are just like, they're just writing like notes out, and they can hear them while they write. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's incredible to watch. But so yeah, big thank you to Adam Conrad, who he's out in LA now, and he's a pilot. He's like, I'm gonna take a break from this. I'm gonna fly planes now. So he's a great guy, and really just so happy Ben Kelly introduced us, and it's just like amazing how far it came. And my dad, of course, is just like, what's happening? My son, I'm like, I stole your song, Dad. That's what's happening.
I love that though. And I love that this is such a perfect example though of like how you never know how one and I feel like this is the theme of the show today, is like how one happenstance meeting will lead to so many other things, down the road. Like you said yes to that thing at Old Arizona, and then you got this whole thing out of it that you would have never expected.
I know. And before you play it too, I should say that 4-track recording from the 90s is me saying, go ahead, take it. And then the first chord is that 90s thing. So it's like mixed into it's mixed
cool.
in.
So your dad gets a credit on the album.
Yeah, he's on there. So his piano playing is the first chord of the song.
Excellent. Well, take a listen for that. This is Brian Just, Changing Traffic Lights, inspired by composition by his dad and brought to new life on his 2017 album. Again, we're going to take a listen to this right now on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
say I love you, and then you say you don't. From green to red, from red to green, just like changing traffic lights, traffic lights. When you say forever, then you say we'll never. From green to red, from red to green, just like changing traffic lights, traffic lights. Remember how you always showed me, and now I'm lost and lonely. From green to red, from red to green, just like changing traffic lights, traffic lights. Traffic lights, traffic lights, traffic lights.
All right. I didn't want to lose those last moments, those little ghosties in there.
I forgot about the end too. I haven't listened to that in a long time, but the end is also my dad slamming on the keyboard, not angry, but he's just like, "Oh, I screwed it up." And that's what he
Oh,
says at the end. You can hear him say, "I screwed it up." He's like, "Psh, oh man, I messed up." So it's just like I forgot that he bookends it. So yeah, that's him
well,
on
and
there the whole time.
it's also kind of great because it just goes to show just when you think you've messed something up, actually that ended up in the final
Yeah.
version, which I kind of love is that like uh you kind of never know how your own music and creation will end up taking shape down the road. Certainly I
Yeah.
bet he didn't imagine it would end up with that treatment. What
No,
was
no,
his
no.
reaction when he first heard it?
Oh, he loves it. He loves it. He doesn't like performing, so it's like I was and I do. I can't stop. But so it's like he's always worried though at shows that I'm gonna invite him up to play it because he's like, don't mention it. So he's very very humble about it, but he loves it. So it was yeah, but I forgot that that's there at the end because yeah, it's him on that 90s tape
Uh-huh.
because he makes a mistake and goes, "Oh, I screwed it up," and that's the end of the album. So
Well, and it's kind of funny. I
Sure.
didn't know that, but again, it sounded like ghost
Yeah,
voices to me, which actually maybe is kind of appropriate, you know.
yeah.
But Joni, people loving it. Joni says
Oh,
beautiful.
thank you, everybody.
Hey Kenny, wow, such a gorgeous song. And yeah, it sounded so beautiful. And there's just something so vibey and dreamy about it. And I feel like a lot of your songs have that quality. Do you I feel like I don't know how even this breakup song still sounds so sunny to me, and I'm wondering, like, do you, I don't know, I'm trying to picture a Brian Just song that wouldn't sound good and on a sunny day, and I feel like I don't and I'm sure these songs are written all times of year, not just in the 2 months of summer we have here in Minnesota. Um, but do you have any sort of writing habits, that or is it just kinda whenever you can pull a chance or get the inspiration to write, you do?
Well, these songs on this album would have been written before I had kids, so my life was so different then. I would stay up till all hours of the night writing songs and in all sorts of states of whatever I was feeling at the moment. But yeah, I don't have I've never been able to be a structured anything. They just come when they come for me, and I try to always. I mean, the one major thing is I always tell songwriters and guitar students of mine, like always. I mean, there's nothing better than these voice memo note things on our
Mhm.
phones nowadays. It's just like we used to have to like run to a tape recorder somewhere, or
Or just
I
sing
mean
it
that
over
was
and over and over until you wouldn't
oh yeah.
forget. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was terrible having to do that. Or just writing stuff down. I always have my phone notes pads going and just typing lyrics. So that's my only like advice. If that's not that that's what you're looking for, but like
Yeah.
that's just what I'm kind of like. I believe in that.
Mhm.
Always writing stuff down when you think of it, and because you never know if it's going to be something you'll totally use later. I've had things, voice memos where I was like revisiting and I'm like, wait a second, I should have done something with that. And then, it could have been lost forever. And then it kind of becomes one of these songs on this record or
Mhm.
something. So that's one thing, habit wise. But, oh, you mentioned something before that I was thinking of, but,
Oh, writing seasonally.
oh, seasonally. Yeah. They sound like summer songs.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that. I mean, think about like in Minnesota, I think what we do is when I think what I do is write more in the winter
Mhm. Yeah,
about warmer
remembering,
time.
like,
Yeah.
remember those good times?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I do think about that. I mean, I do try to write in a positive headspace.
Yeah.
And I do kind of when I write these songs, I think of kind of a world they live in. Someone told me once, when I really started analyzing songwriting, I was like kind of like I pictured it like bubbles, like
Ah.
here's you have to create a world, like a place.
Mhm.
So like for every song, I think I have a visual of the place it exists in,
Mm.
and and they're generally pretty dreamy nature places.
Yeah, I can
Out,
totally see that,
yeah.
sort of like their own little kingdoms of sorts.
Yeah, that's kinda how I think
That's
of it.
great. So, well, now I'm gonna think about that, about what world each of these songs inhabits. But I want Chris asked a question that I didn't want to get lost. He had a couple questions relating to guitars,
Oh.
and that well, he wanted to know, and this is related to songwriting. So um, because he was noticing probably your guitar collection in the back. We're assuming those are all guitars. We can only see the
Yeah, that's
necks,
a good
and
thing.
um, so, but I think he was wondering, do they all have their own sound, which I'm guessing they do. Is there one that you like to leverage when writing, or do you try and mix it up and go to different ones for different kinds of songs?
Oh, yeah. Good question. I mean, it's a fun question to think about. I didn't really I mean, so yes, for sure, the number one thing is, like, if I'm gonna record something, I might try it on multiple guitars to see which one sounds best. I have a couple electric guitars. None of these guitars are good, but they're all usable, and I don't think you need a good guitar to make a good sound, because there's a lot of trickery you can do, as you can tell from these songs. I use as much of anything I can use to make things sound good. But,
Yeah.
uh,
But
but yeah,
when you're
I mean,
actually
that's true.
writing the song, are you just kind of doing that more? You just hear the sound in your head, and then later go to a guitar to figure out what you were singing in your or hearing in your
Oh,
mind.
yeah, I think so. I use the classical guitar mostly to
So like an
just because it's the
acoustic, yeah.
acoustic. That's kind of my just gentle nylon string songwriting guitar. But I use this Gretsch back here sometimes for writing too, because it's got a big neck and just loud, and I don't have to plug it in.
Hmm.
But yeah, whenever I think about songwriting lately, I was like, how do you write songs? Like, what am I gonna say at this thing? And I was like, the only thing I've ever seen on film that showed songwriting to me was that and watch out, I'm gonna compare myself to the Beatles here. No, but
Oh
the Get
yeah,
Back documentary, when Paul's, writing Get Back, I think, or he's writing something and he's just kinda
like
like
in the studio, yeah.
yeah, and he's
He
like
has just his words, but
his eyes
nonsense
almost
words.
like cross yeah, and he's just like singing nonsense, and that didn't look like a put on because the cameras were there. There was some moment where I just got chills. I was like, "That's how it's done. That's someone writing a song right there." Um,
It's just you don't
that
normally get to see it because most people don't really want people to watch their weird process where they're making weird sounds and
yeah,
trying to
that
figure out chords or
that
whatever.
15 seconds of Get Back really stood out to me, of
Yeah,
that
that's
7 hours of whatever, but that moment was like, that's like me on my couch with a guitar, like, getting completely lost for minutes at
Right,
a
because you know
time
you
and
have
just
a good groove, but you don't know
Mhm.
what's gonna go with it yet. And sometimes it's kinda like cooking. It's like you have to find that
Yeah.
right ingredient that's gonna just seal the deal and
Yeah,
make it really
exactly.
tasty. And
Yeah.
Chris was wondering, yeah, if you have your sights set on any more guitars, or do you have plenty already? Maybe
I
it's a question for your wife, right?
these are terrible guitars. Really, they're none of them are worth more than a couple $100 or something like that. Like there's one of these is a children's guitar that my kids just bash on. But no, I hate guitars. I'm not into guitars. I'm not a guitar guy.
Really?
I don't
That's
talk
so funny.
guitars. I don't like thinking about them. I
So
like to
you
use them
so
for what
you
they
like to
are.
play, right, you like to play, and you like
I
to and you like to have teach other people to play, but you
I
don't care
do.
about the
I'm just
actual instrument.
Yeah, I just like something that plays nice and feels nice, and it could be a $50 guitar that I got or somewhere at a garage sale. I just don't really get excited about guitars, but I mean, but yeah, I just it's like having a lot of cars or something. Like they always have to get fixed up, and there's like repairs, and I get so annoyed with them sometimes lately. But
Oh,
but I got a good guitar tech, so he helps me out a lot with stuff. And shout out
wonderful.
to Andrew Moyer if anyone wants a good guitar tech.
That's excellent tip.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the time. I'm realizing, oh, we have to get to more music. We need to hear
Okay.
at least. We're going to try and fit in at least 2 more songs if we can. So the next one I had on the docket, unless you want to switch it up, is My Mojito.
Oh, sure, that's fun. That's the one that my friend Chelsea's mother, Diane, I was just joking. I don't know what I was talking about, but I was like, someone give me like I just need like some I haven't written anything in a while. Can someone just give me like a title to work off of? And she said, "Well, how about the mojito, the drink?" And so I was like, "Sure,
Yeah,
let's do it." So I
it's a
kind of
good
wrote a love
prompt.
song to a cocktail, and
If I had known, I would have. That's what I should have brought for the happy hour today.
it,
All right.
the cocktail kind of becomes a human form at some point in the middle of the song, and
Oh, well,
it's a
then now it
true
gets
love
weird.
song to a drink. I don't know what it's with this one. I really sat and did research on the mojito drink. I really did.
Oh,
With a lot of these songs where I'm like not sure where to go with it, I'm just like researching and like learning about like, oh, who, Ernest Hemingway loved the mojito. What bar did he drink it at? I was like reading about that, and I'm just like kind of just grabbing little tidbits of information, and then I wrote a love song to a drink. It's kind of my
awesome.
Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville.
I
That's
love
what I
it.
like to do.
Well, this is My Mojito by Brian Just here on the back catalog with Same Party.
1, 2, 3, 4. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. My mojito in the morning sun. My mojito when I'm on the run. My mojito in the tall grass. Mojito when the day is done. And my mojito rolling down the hill. And my mojito in Havana will see me in La Bodeguita. We sip upon the windowsill. Oh my mojito, won't you stay with me just for a while? Yes, my mojito, won't you stay with me? La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. My mojito walking in high heels. Every step a glance of her he steals. And with those green eyes of jasmine, mojito tells me how she feels. And I hold my pen just like Hemingway. And we dance all night and waltz away. Gather all the empty glasses and fill them for another day. Oh my mojito, won't you stay with me just for a while? Yes, my mojito, won't you stay with me? La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Brian Just with his love song to the Mojito from his 2017 album, Changing Traffic Lights. And it caused Chris to change from drinking beer to rum. So just saying.
Good.
It had a heavy impact right there.
That's great.
Yeah, Alan, I don't know. Sometimes you have a gin and tonic, sometimes you have a mojito. So I don't know if anyone's having a mojito out there, but it does sound like a good summertime drink. And just a bonus, I didn't know it was one of Ernest Hemingway's favorite drinks. So now I learned that just from you, Brian.
I think so. That's what research I did 7 or 8 years ago now. Maybe 9 years ago, I researched it and immediately wrote it down. So it must be true.
Alan Just, because we have a couple Allens at the party today. Your brother said, haha, in spirit, I will be in a couple of hours. I'll mix one up. I'm working and listening in Seattle. He said, what is that noise in the middle of the la la la's?
Oh, there's like a goose or something. It's like a bird sound.
Huh.
It's like this kind of noise. Yeah, it's weird.
Excellent.
It's we do it when we do it live. We kind of scream at ourselves. So I actually don't know the answer to exactly what kind of bird that is, though. I think it was I want to say it was like a goose or something noise, but I don't know.
Widely saying loving all songs, but can I ask who did the art for the album? And I was going to ask that same thing. So
I wanted to make sure that was mentioned because
can you hold that vinyl version up? Yes, and it's all. Is that all illustrated?
Yeah, it's all hand drawn by Dan Black of Land is the name of his poster record company and everything. He and I went to high school together. We were in bands all through high school and into college together. And he's a great visual artist and someone. But Land. If you Google Land, all one word, that'll get you his. You could see all his poster work. Does incredible stuff. So yeah, all this is by hand, and I don't know if you can see it from here, but.
See some film reels and
so there's a bunch of stuff from the actual songs in here too.
Oh, nice.
So he actually added a traffic lights there. And there's a bunch of little secret things. One of the songs is about a ship, and this is that. But so he asked me a few things I wanted to add to the mix, and this was so I wish I would have had this handy, but there's a CD in the CD art. In the CD, when you open it up, there's the actual photograph of that place.
Excellent.
That he drew that from. But yeah, that's definitely something.
So that's something you can get. The big vinyl version that he was holding up is available at brianjust.com, also at select record stores in the Twin Cities. And you can also get CD copies as well. Highly recommended to do that. And you can just go to brianjust.com. You can also check out tour dates. Brian does have some at least regional stuff in Minnesota, I think coming up in July and August, right?
Yeah, I'm so there's a lot going on these days, but I've got two new groups I've been playing with this last year that I started. And one of them is called Just Love Incorporated. We do a lot of kind of obscure British 60s era covers, and we write a lot of songs as well. So it's about a half and half covers and originals. And that is at the Eagles Club on July 13th. Eagles 34 in Minneapolis, and then that same band's at the Schooner on July 18th. And but then there's this new place there's like summer thing called the Capybara Lounge. Have you heard of any shows happening there? The Capybara Lounge. It's like a backyard kind of hang party thing. But a new group I'm working on with Kent Militzer and Clay Williams and Dave Boquist. It's a kind of a country band of sorts. So I'm kind of scratching that itch there, getting some country tunes going, and we're calling ourselves the Wandering Sons.
Nice. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah. So Just Love Incorporated and Wandering Sons is also Brian Just, as well as, and I know you're working on a new record. This is all to say that if you want to support all of these ventures and you're liking the music today, you can throw something in the tip jar, and we're going to put the link in the comments via Venmo. You can also, of course, buy the album is another great way of supporting him and funding the next project. And we don't know when the next one is coming, right, Brian? Maybe by next year, maybe.
I would hope at this point that I could confidently make a printout of a vinyl record that says 2025. I think that'll be a good goal at this point for me. And I'm hoping sooner than later in 2025, because we're just on the final stretch here of a couple songs left to mix, and should be just easy. You know how easy it is just to throw a record out into the world.
Oh my
So
gosh.
easy.
Especially with
So
2 kids.
yeah, with
So,
2 kids, it'll just be
it'll
so
just happen. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, again, brianjust.com is how to stay in touch with Brian. You can find him on the social places as well and in person if you live around the Twin Cities. We're going to get to one more song before we go here because folks are itching for it. But before we do, I want to thank all the folks that keep this show possible. The Back Catalog Listening Party. This is the 214th episode, I believe. And I'm Brian. I know you were at some of those early ones during the pandemic. So you know that the show hopefully has grown over that time.
Yeah.
But it is thanks to these folks, Penny, Anna, Linda, Bevan, Connie, Vaughn, Alan, Chris, Alex, Becky, Peggy, Joe, Jim, Beverly, John, Fred, Tim, Sarah, David, Jocelyn, Matt, Steve, Mark, Homestead Pick and Parlor, Severin, Lynn, Mary, Many Tracks, Nikki, Joni, David, CJ, Wiley, Stephanie, Christy, Diane, Hetty, and maybe you. If you would like to join this illustrious crew on Patreon, this is the time to do it because pretty soon we're going to be making a big announcement about the podcast version of the show. And the Patreon folks are going to be get the inside scoop on all of it, and we'll be invited to some special private tapings. So this is the time to support Patreon, support us on Patreon if you can. But either way, the important thing is that you're here joining us today and joining the conversation, listening to these great tunes from Brian Just, because this is, as my partner in crime, Anthony Ihrig, likes to say, this is the best hour of every week, is this time spent, whether it's Brian Just or someone else. But man, today, this is the music I wanted to hear, Brian. So sunny and lovely.
Thank you for having me. This has been so fun. And I just wanted to say, yeah, thanks for doing this show. Because as an artist who has past back catalogs of records, we appreciate any, call to attention of these things we worked super hard on. So it's nice to get to revisit it myself. And thanks for having me here.
Oh, well, we're so delighted. Folks are loving the music, and we're going to get one more song in here, Staring Into the Sun. Is there anything you want to say about this before you take
this one was released, I think we actually released this before the album came out on the Eclipse Day.
Oh, yeah.
And that was, speaking of my dad, Father's Day, man. But he actually said you should release this on that day, because it was like right in that same month that we released the album. So I ended up doing like a live thing down at Eclipse Records for this.
Yeah, in St. Paul,
for the Current, right? Yeah, I would performed it down there. It was pretty fun. But yeah, this is just classic unrequited love song type of song. I was trying to think, just just the classic love song that's just you're not getting anything back from. And Josie has one of the coolest organ solos ever in the middle of this thing. I think you should listen for. But it's kind of got a Al Green Talking Heads Take Me to the River vibe, if you can't tell. I mean, I'm just I'm aware. But the other thing about this song is whenever we do this live, we say and now the Paul Schaefer Orchestra, CBS Orchestra, because there's something about this introduction that has this like Paul Schaefer, David Letterman intro that I just love. And I think that's all I had to say about this one. It's a fun one, though. It's a good one to close on, I think.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
This is Brian Just with Staring Into the Sun here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
I'll play the games you want me to play, but it's not easy to stay in your good graces. Some days, I just can't look away, 'cause I don't seem to find love in other places. It's like staring into the sun, like staring into the sun, like staring into the sun, staring into the sun. So we lay down in the grass and count clouds and try to make out the sounds that all the birds sing. And the weight of the pause in the speech makes me go weak in my knees, and I feel like I'm dying, like staring into the sun, like staring into the sun, like staring into the sun, staring into the sun.
All right. Brian Just was staring into the sun here on the back catalog listening party from his 2017 album, Changing Traffic Lights. And you weren't kidding. Your wife did a pretty kickin' organ solo. That was Josie Just. And
Yeah, we did.
so rocking.
Yeah, it's amazing. She nails it every time. Yeah, we did that right here too. It's funny to think,
Really?
remember all this stuff. Yeah.
That's amazing. And also, was that cowbell I heard in there too?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like percussive keyboard hitting and cowbell, and yeah, that one's another epic one. Pretty big
And just
sound.
the drums were doing really cool things in that too.
Well, so that stuff was done live. Some of those, so we did like I know we're kind of running out of time here, but the guitar and bass and drums, my guitar, bass, and drums were recorded live on like 4 of the tracks, and then everything was on top of it. So there really is like a real live sound to some of these songs that I think comes through.
Yeah, for sure. Oh,
know.
what a fun way to end today's show. Again, Brian Just, the album we've been revisiting today is Changing Traffic Lights. Came out in 2017. You can get it on vinyl and CD if you go to brianjust.com, where you can also find where he's playing next. And folks, just loving it. Wiley says, thanks for another great episode. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Yes, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Joni says, thank you for a terrific show. And Chris says, thanks, Brian and Ellen. Great show today. Until next time. And
Nice.
Michael says, loved it. And if you love it as much as you say you do, like it on YouTube, give it the thumbs up and direct more bots to Brian Just. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel because we do this every Friday, not always with Brian Just. Not always with 20 vocal tracks, but
I know. Thanks for playing my music today.
We do it with other great artists, and it's always a fun surprise and revelation, even for artists that I know and love. I always learn new things and hear new things that I haven't heard before, even on records that I've enjoyed for many years. So, Brian, thank you for spending your Friday afternoon with us.
Ellen, Mother Banjo, thank you so much. I'm so glad I ran into you at the park more recently. I'm so glad I ran into you years ago at that Art of World concert.
I know. You just never know what those chance encounters, whether they're online or in person, what they will lead to. And I'm just so happy you're still making music, and I can't wait to hear what you do next. So,
well, I was listening to that. My favorite song of yours is that song "New."
Oh, thank you.
I love "New." I always listen to that. That's still on one of my mixes that I listen to. That was when we met. So that was
the new or the old New?
2011 New.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a 2013 New as well.
So that's a track to revisit, folks. Mother Banjo New.
But to go back to what you were saying earlier, the reason why you might not have found the new is because that was under Mother Banjo Band as opposed to Mother Banjo. So they're living in different spheres.
You should have talked to me about that.
Oh
You
my
should have,
gosh.
because I could have given you.
Things
You
that
gave me
I
advice
wish
in the years, but
things that I wish I had done differently, speaking of
yeah,
which. Anyway,
I
well,
get it.
that's a whole nother show sometime, for the
Where
for the
where we
after
complain
party.
about mistakes being made. Yes, we'll do that again next time.
I don't think anyone wants to watch that. So,
No.
we'll say goodbye to all of you out there. Have a wonderful weekend. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. We appreciate you. And yeah, until next Friday, have a great week and take care.
Hey,
Cheers.
thanks for listening, everybody.